FM weather. It'll be partly to mostly sunny on this Wednesday. The high temperature in the mid-80s, south wind at 10. Scattered clouds, light winds in the mid-60s overnight. An increasing chance of showers and thunderstorms Wednesday night, and Thursday. Low pressure coming in from the west. And the temperatures Wednesday with some sunshine around 80. And those temperatures will be in the 70s Thursday with those showers and thunderstorms continuing. Jonesboro, that's your KLEK 102.5 FM weather.
From Feature Story News, I'm Natalie Powell with your latest world news. 2 journalists have been released from prison in Myanmar after a presidential amnesty. They spent over 500 days in prison for reporting on the Rohingya crisis. Congratulations continue to pour in for Prince Harry and wife Meghan after the birth of their son. And U.S. Vice President Mike Pence is expected to announce new incentives to Venezuela's military to turn against President Maduro.
It's 9:01.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday to you. I hope that you're having a great start to your day. You're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Quabila Jones, and my special guest today is Miss Lisa Perry from CRDC. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining me. I received an email from Miss Lisa some time ago, and it was about a conference that's coming up called the Region 4 Prevention Empowerment Conference. And so I was like, we need to get you on to talk about this. We can never have these type of discussions enough. This conference is centered around a variety of issues, mainly substance. Is it mainly substance abuse?
It's mainly substance abuse, although we do have speakers on suicide prevention, bullying, those sorts of things as well.
Okay. And so there will be adult tracks and student tracks, and we'll definitely get into all of that. But first, I would like for Ms. Lisa to give us an introduction of herself. And how long have you been with CRDC and specifically working with this program?
I've been working with the prevention program for a little over 2 years.
Okay. A little over 2 years. How long has this program been, I guess, in existence or around under CRDC?
For at least 35 years.
Really?
Older records have been shredded because, we don't have to. But we have actually been doing substance abuse prevention for 13 counties in eastern Arkansas for decades.
That's wonderful. And I wonder how many people, really know about your program and utilize it to its fullest.
I don't think anybody utilizes it to its fullest.
Okay.
We have people who are aware of what we do, but we don't have anyone who really just goes after everything we offer, because there are so many things that we can do in the communities we serve.
Well, I hope after today people are more aware and they start ringing your phone, sending emails, just talking about your office to utilize your service. I know CRDC has been around for a long time, and I became familiar with you all when I came to Jonesboro about 20 plus years ago. So I know that you do wonderful things, and most people mainly know you for utility assisted and weatherization, but you all do so much more than that, and we'll definitely highlight those other services closer to the end of the show. But I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about the conference, because this is a jam-packed day full of discussions and activities for the adults and for the children that would be attending. Mm-hmm. This conference will be on May 13th at Arkansas State University Student Union. Again, sponsored by Crowley's Ridge Development Council, regional prevention provider. So let's just kind of go into the details of, I guess, how did this conference come to be, and what do you hope people walk away with?
Okay. Every year the state hosts a statewide prevention conference, and this year is the 30th and 31st of May. But they decided that in each region of the state, we needed to have a regional conference.
Okay.
Because not everybody can travel to Little Rock or to Fayetteville or to wherever we're having the state conference every year. It's expensive, it's hotel stays, it's a lot of gas, it's a lot of food. So this year is our first annual because we're
Okay.
going to be doing them every year. That we're opening it up to the public and really trying to get as many people in as we can.
All right, and so want to also let everyone know this event starts at 9:30. It was from 9:30 to 2:30, and they ask for you to register. Lunch is provided. Is there a fee to attend?
No,
Okay, so totally free. You cannot be free. So free event, and lunch is provided to register for registered participants. So make sure you registered, or you'll be watching everyone else eat. No.
well, I've ordered a lot of extra food. At this
Okay.
point, the food had to be ordered. We've got enough to feed, I think, 500 people coming.
Okay,
so
look, we need the whole community to come
Yeah.
out to this.
if you don't register, we're still going to feed you until the food runs out.
All right. Once again, more to Dr. Sharice Jones Branch. She says hi, Lisa, and to Tony Thomas. Thank you all for joining in. All
Love
right.
you both.
All right. So again, let's get back into the details. Now, registration starts at 8:30, even though the actual events start at 9:30. And so you go to the A State Student Union, third floor, and you're. I'm sorry. It's basically going to be a takeover.
Yes, we're going to occupy the third floor.
All right.
I think there's one room we're not using.
One room. All right. Now, for people who want to register, can they find a list of the schedule on maybe a website or somewhere?
If you go to our Facebook page,
Okay.
it's pinned to the top of the page. The schedule for the day is there. A link to register is there.
Okay.
But if you don't get registered, come on in anyway.
That's right. All right. And I'll put the registration link in the live feed a little later on.
Okay.
And so, because it's a lot. It's different words and letters, so I don't want to mess it up.
Okay.
All right, so then once the opening session starts, you have a welcome by you, Dr. Lisa. I'm so sorry, Dr. Lisa Perry.
That's okay.
And then there'll be some breakout sessions starting at 10, 11, and 12. And these will be roughly 50 minutes.
Roughly 50 minutes. We have a vendor area that people can visit and find out about some other community services, some substance abuse treatment things, some other community things that are available in the region. So.
Okay. And then the 12 o'clock session goes until 1:15 with a keynote speaker and lunch in the ballroom. So tell us about the keynote speaker.
The keynote speaker is the Arkansas Drug Director, Kirk Lane. He is going to be speaking about the current state of substance use in the state. I know that several of us have heard previous talks that he's done, but he is well aware that this audience is going to be roughly half youth.
Okay.
So he's really going to be tailoring the message for things that we hope will be impactful to them as well, not just for the adult participants.
All right. And so during that keynote presentation, will the youth and adults be together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I would love to highlight some of the other speakers during the breakout session. So with session 1, introduction to medical marijuana. I know a story came out some time ago that Arkansas was kind of on its way to getting what do you call them? Facilities, but they use another word. For
Right.
dispensaries.
Dispensaries, yes.
So, do you have an idea of what some of the specifics of the discussion may entail?
He's going to be discussing what some of the implications of medical marijuana are. There is some research being done with marijuana and specifically to medicinal uses.
Okay.
We know that components have some medicinal uses.
Okay.
Whole leaf marijuana does not have that research. The stuff that is shredded and smoked doesn't have the same type of research.
Okay.
We know that, but it does have uses. I mean,
Okay.
I would not argue that it doesn't, but the problem comes into the who's using it, how are they using it, are they operating motor vehicles while they're using it, are they trying to teach our children while they're using,
Okay.
So it's kind of like anything else. You've got to have some sort of boundaries there.
And I know that, by listening to other discussions, those that are advocates for it, I don't know how I feel yet, but those that are advocates for it, they're saying that there are parts, as you said, components of the plant that don't give you that high feeling and that it's safer to use. And so, again, there's a lot of research out there, and I hope people come out to this session and, you know, really take notes at what the presenter has to say.
Yeah, I do too. You know, and the other thing, I guess, that we need to keep in mind is that today's marijuana is not the marijuana that was around when I was a teenager decades ago, because the THC level is so much higher.
Oh, wow.
It is like 4 times higher today, just because of growing practices and you know, things that are taking place. It's not the same marijuana that was around in the 60s and 70s. It's not.
So if for nothing else, people need to come and become educated
Right.
on just what the marijuana plant is. Maybe do your own research online, but still come out to the session as
Yes,
well.
please. And I have a huge binder full of actual current research on different uses for it in my office, and anyone who wants to come sit down and go through that is welcome to.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, and so the next session, also going on at 10 o'clock is suicide prevention. Sadly, we've heard too many stories about children. I know there's adults that, you know, deal with depression, things of that nature. We've heard a lot about bullying and children committing suicide. I don't know if it's because of where we are in our society with access to media that we're hearing more about it. I know it's not a new occurrence. However, just more in our face.
Yeah. Some of what we have going on is that people are more connected.
Okay.
You know, it's not like we didn't have suicide in the 70s when I was in school, for example. We did, but it was not as common.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone is so much more connected. They're connected through social media. They're connected through, you know, their smartphones. They're connected through all sorts of mechanisms, and so you can't get the breaks from it. You can't go home and escape it anymore.
Yes, ma'am.
And, you know, home is not the safe place it used to be.
No, ma'am.
So,
And I want to mention, as it notes in the program, may elicit strong emotions to those who have suffered a suicide loss or made a previous attempt. Not recommended from anyone who has suffered a suicide loss within the past 6 months and is not at a healthy stage of their recovery process. So, just a warning, this will be a very emotional discussion and presentation. So you enter at your own risk. You know, I hate to say it like that, but we definitely don't want anyone to have a setback and become overly emotional during this presentation.
the young woman who's doing this presentation has her own story. She lost her parents in a murder-suicide as a child. So she knows what she's talking about, and she does. You know, she is an amazing person, and I'm sure she'll share her story. But it made national news, so I'm sure she will share her story during this presentation.
All right, I wanted to say thank her in advance. Thank you to her in advance for being open and candid, and hopefully helping someone else that's maybe facing some similar situations. All right, I want to say good morning to Miss Noelle Harper Richardson from Out of the Dark. She's hey ladies, and Dr. Sharice Jones Branch says this sounds exciting. So, Dr. Branch, if you're not busy jet setting, you know, come on over to the to the program, to the conference. All right, so Hidden in Plain Sight. Tell us about this program, this presentation.
Hidden in Plain Sight, it will be available at every one of the breakout sessions during the day.
Okay.
It is a mock-up of a teen room. And for anyone who has children, mine are older than that now and gone out of the house, but for anyone who has kids, if the room is an opportunity to see some things that can help you identify, is your child into the drug culture? Are they, following particular trends? Are they using? Are they concealing? Are they interested? And it's an opportunity to see all the different clues that may be hidden around the room that you don't even realize.
Wow. So do you think that the speaker would suggest, as parents, we just kind of do one of those shakedowns every now and then with our kids, like go through flipping mattresses and covers and just pulling out drawers and.
I wouldn't do it when I'm angry, and I would make sure I talk to my kids in advance, and I would make sure that I talk to my kids often.
Okay.
But the room is definitely an eye opener. I saw it for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and the way she has put it together is, I missed things.
Wow.
So.
Does this, from your experience with speaking with Ms. Allison, would you suggest that we as parents, as we as parents become more aware and our children know that we are aware, it may help to reduce either usage or reduce them bringing stuff into our home at least, and then maybe make them think twice about some of their behaviors?
I think that if our children understand that we're being vigilant and understand that we care, I think they also need to understand that I think maybe we need to try not to be judgmental.
Okay.
I think that we need to try to talk to them and hear their side of things. Yeah. But yeah, if you're absolutely certain and your teen isn't talking to you, toss the room. I don't know. Okay.
All right.
You're going to have consequences. There are consequences for everything, but and there's going to be a loss of trust going on there. So it's going to create issues, but
All right. All right. So another session is the role of patient-facing technologies to empower patients and improve its safety. And this is by Dr. Bhavesh Joshi from the NYT. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. Health technology is really advancing at such a lightning pace. The things that we can use to help monitor conditions, the things that we can use to diagnose conditions, the things that we can use to provide treatment. It is just moving at such a lightning pace. He's going to be talking about some of those technologies and how they fit into the role of treatment.
And I'm sure this will be very beneficial for those that work in rural settings or those lower economic areas where there may be limited resources. Hopefully, facilities can invest in a few higher tech devices that will help to increase the quality of care given to their patients.
Another thing that we've been working with is trying to help bring telemedicine to some of the more rural regions that we all provide. So hopefully we will start seeing some more use of that in the area.
All right, so this would be a great session for those that are in the medical field, nurses, doctors, any kind of practitioner. Go and sit in on this session. All right, evidence-based complementary and alternative interventions to prevent opioid abuse and misuse in rural Arkansas. This has become, again, I'm not going to say it's become an epidemic. I think it's always been around, but because, again, of our access to media and news sources, it's now in our face. And I hate to say we're now wanting to do something about it, but we kind of now want to do something about it.
I think that it's easier to ignore the problems when they're not in your face. And whatever the problems are, there's always things roiling below the surface that we're not aware of in our day-to-day lives. So, yeah, you're right.
So, and then when it comes to opioid use and abuse, when it talks about rural Arkansas, I grew up in rural Arkansas, and I could attest to how there's not a lot to do outside of going to work, going to church, and being with your family. There are those moments where the reality of life can weigh heavy on you, so you turn to other substances to kind of deal with those pressures. And so I wonder if that is one thing that comes up in research that's a leading contributor.
Boredom is a definite contributor to people starting, having things to do helps. I'm not an Arkansas native. I grew up in southern West Virginia, and we all know opioids in West Virginia and most of Appalachia right now. But where I grew up, my graduating class had 72 students. Oh. So very rural, very small school, very small towns. And we had, I joke about it, but it's really not funny, that when I was in high school, we had, you could get a contact high walking between classes in the hallways because there was so much marijuana in the school. There was alcohol in so many of the lockers. But in West Virginia at that time, the legal drinking age was still 18. So a lot of that alcohol was legal, other than it wasn't supposed to be on school property. But we had even bigger problems. So the school administration didn't do a whole lot to address the alcohol and the marijuana in the school because there were so many other issues going on.
Wow.
And you don't think about that in really rural, small-town schools. Things like that being a problem. But our school, I know for a fact, definitely faced those sorts of issues.
And another contributing factor, which is listed here in the description, is chronic pain. Someone may start taking drugs because of an accident, whatever the case, they have pain, and then it becomes an abuse situation. So if you're interested in more about this, please go and check out this session. All right. The next session is strategic planning framework, and we're going to get ready to come up on a break here in a minute. So I don't want to run out of time. If maybe 20 seconds, you can kind of give us a
Sure. The strategic prevention framework, and really it is a planning framework that works for just about anything besides prevention, is a way to analyze what are the problems, how are you going to try to address them, what sort of programs or interventions can you put in place, and then implementing them and looking at have they been effective. So it's a cyclic process where you just try to, what's the problem? How do we fix it? Try to fix it. Did it work? What's the problem now?
All right.
So looking at how to try to address those issues.
All right, so we're going to get ready for a break here soon. I want to say good morning to Sergeant Nathan Coleman. Have you all sent an invitation out to the police department, to the law enforcement, to maybe attend some of these sessions?
We have. I'm sure we probably missed a few because we don't all these counties, but we have definitely tried to get invitations out to everybody. And anyone who's listening, if you didn't get an invitation, here's your invitation. I'd love to see you.
All right, and I will put the link in our Facebook Live feed so you can register for the event for the youth or adult track. Get your kids out as well.
For the youth track, just send me an email. They do not have to register online.
Okay, awesome. And we'll be right back after these announcements, so please do not go anywhere.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
What's the difference between a merger and a marriage? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. In a merger, two groups contract to join forces within a certain period of time. In a marriage, two people covenant to become one, and that's a lifelong process. It doesn't just happen in deep discussions and major moments, great as those times may be. It also occurs in the small daily things of life when you're intentional about growing together with your spouse, whether it's cooking together, exercising together, or choosing to read a book out loud to one another. You can turn ordinary, everyday events into strong threads that weave you closer and tighter. Remember, your family first.
For more resources on today's topic, go to markmerrill.com. The Family Minute with Mark Merrill, helping families love well.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Family Minute is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Hello, I'm Officer Victoria Evans. I have always had a desire to help others in need and to be an example and role model to young women by encouraging them to never give up on their dreams. My dream was to become a police officer and to serve my community. In 2016, that dream became a reality, and it is the most rewarding experience of my life. Now I want to let you know about the same opportunity. The Jonesboro Police Department will conduct testing every month for patrol officers. Applications are available online at jonesboropolice.com or at the Police Department, 1001 South Caraway Road. The Jonesboro Police Department offers a competitive salary, health, and retirement benefits, top-of-the-line training, and most importantly, the chance to make a difference in the Jonesboro community. Join me in making Jonesboro a better place. The Jonesboro Police Department is an equal opportunity employer, and women and minorities are especially encouraged to apply. More information is available at 870-935-5657.
This portion of KLEK programming can be made possible by your business. Your support will help in educating, entertaining, and empowering the community by supporting local talent, serving the community you love, and providing information on issues you care about from a different perspective. Call 870-203-9951 or visit klekfm.org to learn how we can help connect you more with the community, or visit us at 1411 Franklin Street. KLEK 102.5 Jonesboro, educating, entertaining, and empowering the community.
Experience the joy with Bishop Adrian R. Rogers, pastor of Fullness of Joy Church, 2120 Thorn Street, Jonesboro, Arkansas, 72401. Wednesday night, Word and Worship, 7 p.m. Prayer Thursday night at 7 p.m. Sunday School, 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning worship, 11 o'clock a.m. And our Sunday night live service at 7 p.m.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. My special guest is Dr. Lisa Perry from CRDC, and we're discussing the Region 4 Prevention Empowerment Conference coming up on May 13th. Event starts at 9:30, but registration starts at 8:30. This will be on the third floor of the ASU Student Union. So, and there will be various breakout sessions, various sessions at different times. And so you can go to their Facebook page and see which session that you would love to go to. Make a list for yourself so that you have your day planned out, because this will be an all-day, roughly 9:30 until about 3 o'clock event. So make a plan, and so that you can go from session to session, pretty quickly, and then you get to enjoy a keynote speaker and lunch and all that good stuff. And this is totally free, so please make plans to go out to this event. CRDC does so much more than just utility assistance and weatherization. So, and we'll definitely get into that a little bit more. But I don't want to run out of time before we get through these other sessions. All right, so session 2 starts at 11, and this one, I see there's law enforcement. A law enforcement response to the opioid overdose crisis, implementation of a help me out with this, naloxone program for JPD, and this will be led by Captain Lynn Waterworth. Okay. So can you give us a little more insight into that?
Sure. Naloxone, or Narcan, is a drug that's used to reverse overdoses, specifically opioid overdoses. And about a year ago, JPD got a grant through the Blue and You Foundation, I believe, that purchased Narcan for the police officers.
Okay.
And they've had a number of saves here in the city where they've responded to drug overdoses and been able to administer this. And for people who have overdosed and have even stopped breathing, they've been able to get them breathing again and actually get them medical help where before they would have just died. So they're going to be talking about the impact that having that available to the police department has had.
Okay. If you want to go to that, check that out. And then that would be in the White River Room. And again, all of these sessions will be in various rooms on the third floor. So that's why I suggest you make your plan so you know where you're going, what time, and who the speaker is. All right. Combating underage drinking. Okay. Sadly, again, because of the field you work in and then my experience working with teens in previous years, we have seen too many things that our children are getting into. So can you give us a little more insight to this session?
Alcohol is the most used drug by minors. It's generally the first one they try, either that or cigarettes. I'd say that's from that as well. But it's generally the first drug they try.
Wow.
And we're seeing it at 5th and 6th grade level. These are not necessarily teenagers that are starting. So here he's going to be talking about, where they're getting it, how they're using it, and really what the implications are, because it's a gateway to so many other things.
And this is one thing I want to point out, and this may be shocking or may not be shocking to some. They are finding creative ways to ingest it so it's not on their breath. So they can be in school and be intoxicated, and you can't smell it on them because they found a different way to ingest it. And I don't want to get too graphic on air, but let's just say I wouldn't do that because alcohol burns, and anyway, I wouldn't try some of the methods that they try.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, I did see someone posted a video of kids going into prom over the weekend, I think for JHS, and the officers were doing breathalyzer tests, I guess to check to make sure students are not coming in intoxicated. However, this goes back to those that want to get intoxicated will find creative ways where it's not on their breath. Right. And so if you want to learn more about that, you need to come to this session. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't want to get too graphic on air. All right. Suicide prevention. This is a continuation of the first session by Miss Susie Reynolds Reese. And again, this is a warning. If you've dealt with suicide within the past 6 months, whether personal attempts or a loss due to suicide, they ask that you not attend, because this can get very emotional. And so I hate to say enter at your own risk, but if you're still dealing with it or you haven't dealt with what has happened, really don't want you to go through this one.
Even if you think you're okay. I mean, I had a niece who attempted suicide the week before Christmas. I went to a training in March, and I thought, I do what I do. I'm okay. I had to leave. And I mean, we didn't lose her. We got her to medical care in time. But when she says that this could trigger, she's serious.
It could trigger.
So if you're still kind of raw, I would advise finding a different one.
Okay. And there's so many other sessions to go to, so just skip suicide prevention. Then there's a repeat of Hidden in Plain Sight. Again, this is the teen room mock-up. Okay, right. And so this is, again, showing you what to look out for in your teenager's room, ways they try to conceal things. And you might not want to go full on, police officer and tear the room up, but hey, definitely start having discussions with your children that you are aware of what's happening. Open the floor for discussion, and then hopefully they will open up to you. Okay. The problem in management of addiction in today's society. And this would be Dr. Ronald Onley, also from NYIT. And can you give us a little insight into that one?
Sure. He's going to be talking about different types of addiction and how they present, and how you address treatment for the different types.
Okay. So if you're interested in that, please go and check that out. How to recognize and respond to an overdose. All right. And this is by one of your own co-workers, Ms. Leah Blythe, or Lee Blythe. Okay. And so this session will provide an overview of opioid misuse signs and symptoms. Okay. The use of Narcan, the resources you can use to help prevent and overcome addiction.
So the presentation that Lee is doing is one that was put together by the Criminal Justice Institute.
Okay.
And it's intended for families who have a family member who is dealing with opioid use or misuse. So it's really the core of it is really about how do you recognize if someone is overdosing? Okay. How can you respond? And why it's important that if you do have someone who is using, that you get Narcan, and it is available. Anybody in the state can go to the pharmacy and buy it. You do not have to go to a doctor and get a prescription or anything.
But before you use it, you need
to know how.
Yes,
and it's super simple. It's a nasal spray, so it isn't difficult. But it goes over making sure that they don't if they throw up, that they don't aspirate, so putting in a recovery position and how to, those sorts of things, real basic, how do you,
Okay, so you can almost equate it to CPR training, but for drug overdose.
Right.
Okay. All right, and then emerging tobacco products. This is going to be a good one because there are, again, people are getting more creative on how they make products. So tell us a little more about that one.
Okay. Well, she's going to be talking about not just, cigarettes and dip and those sorts of things, also vaping and vaping devices, whether we're talking about Juul or the big tank type vaping devices. The FDA has also just approved another sort of, if a Juul and a cigarette had a baby, it would be this thing, because instead of using a fluid, it actually uses tobacco. But it doesn't burn. It's a non-combustible device. So like a vaping device, but it does use tobacco instead of vaping fluids.
Wow. And the term Juul is new. Is it J-E-W-E-L?
It's J-U-U-L. It looks like a flash drive.
Miss Noelle mentioned that at an event I went to, that kids are finding oh my God, there's so many new devices out there.
2 years ago, Juul was barely a blip on the vaping radar. Today, they have 70% market share. So they own the vaping market. Okay. And even though they have claimed they weren't advertising to youth, because, of course, if you're under 18, you can't legally buy this stuff. I never had any luck finding adults who knew what they were, but any 14-year-old could tell me. So that tells me who they were really marketing to.
All right, adults, we need to step up our game and become more aware of what's out there on the market so that we can learn how to recognize, what our kids have in their possession. We might see something laying on their desk in school and think it's an innocent object, but it could be something else. All right, I want to say good morning to Ms. Rebecca Laurel Evans. Thank you so much for checking in. All right, 7 Strategies for Community Level Change by Melissa Ayers.
She's also with Out of the Dark Coalition.
That's her. Okay.
She is going to be talking about, when we're looking at all of these problems, whether we're talking about issues of substance abuse, or if we're talking about homelessness, or if we're talking about poverty, if we're talking about any of the problems that we have in our communities, what it really takes is changing the community. Okay. You can change individual people, you can help people get off drugs, you can help people move from homelessness, but until you can address the underlying problems in the community that cause them, you can't really fix anything. So she's going to be talking about a process or a program called 7 that really is strategies for how do you get at the underlying problems and address them as a community. And it really does take a community. Nobody can do anything about any sort of serious change on their own. It takes everyone.
Yes, it does. And as a sociology major, this would be something I would definitely be very interested in. I love studying how people in spaces or in communities, society, but how society can, again, help individuals navigate their day-to-day life and increase the quality of their life. So I hope that a lot of people show up to this, especially people who work with community organizations. This would be a great session for them to go to, so they can see how to implement these strategies into their programs that will help the community. All right. And in session 3, which starts from 1:30 to 2:20, chronic pain roundtable, and there'll be several people on this panel. Can you talk about this one?
Sure. The FDA recently made a statement that there were some changes that had happened in opioid prescribing that they hadn't intended. And it's left behind roughly 25 million people in this country who do suffer from long-term chronic pain that are not being treated or are not being appropriately treated because of the restrictions that either the insurance companies or the doctors or the hospitals or the pharmacies have placed on opioids. Now, I think we can all agree that opioids are not intended for long-term lifetime use. They're not the appropriate treatment for this type of chronic pain.
Okay.
but the pharmaceutical industry is very short on alternatives at the moment. We look at opioids or physical therapy or yoga or massage therapy or go to the chiropractor or suck it up and deal with it. I mean, it's kind of, and, so these are a group of advocates, and some of them are chronic pain sufferers who are going to be talking about what the impact of this opioid epidemic has had on their own medical issues, and maybe try to talk about some ideas for how do we get past that so we can provide appropriate medical care for people who need it without feeding the addiction problem and the overdose problem that we have. And it's a serious problem, and I don't think we'll get to any sort of solutions, but at least maybe we can start the conversation.
Okay. All right, so if you're interested, go to that session. And then there will be one discussion, teen alcohol awareness and prevention. Again, we can never be aware enough about what our teens are doing. And behaviors that teenagers develop at that whatever age they are, it can carry over and have detrimental effects in their adult lives. So hopefully anything we can do to become aware and stop what they're doing now and help them. Well, we can't stop it. They have to want to change their behavior. But we need to be equipped with their information and tools to help them.
Yeah. One of the things that we see, we were talking about the Arkansas Prevention Needs Assessment Survey earlier. And one of the things that we see is the most common places that our youth are getting alcohol are at home, either with or without the parents' permission, or at the homes of friends. This state has social hosting laws. You can go to jail for making alcohol available, for providing alcohol to children who are not your own. Wow. So we really need to address, this is an issue where we have parental attitudes, where I trust my kids, I don't need to lock it up, or I would rather them drink here with me than go out. And these are all things that we see and hear, but are we really helping develop healthy attitudes, or are we feeding an early problem?
That's a great question. All right, so if you want to go to that one, this one's at 1:30 to 2:20, led by speaker Lonnie Beth Sweetie, okay. All right, and then again another repeat session of Hidden in Plain Sight. I'm sure that one's going to be very interesting.
It is, and because it involves such a setup of stuff, we just thought, okay, everyone should have an opportunity, and we can just leave the room as it is and not have to worry about changing things out for other speakers. So it will be in there all day.
All right, and so these next ones, I don't want to run out of time. So there'll be human trafficking. This is also 1:30 to 2:20. Arkansas Prevention Needs Assessment, Internet Safety and Cyberbullying, the dangers of youth vaping and juuling. And so human trafficking, this will be led by Truman Police Department. Sadly, this has been in the news a lot, and there are a variety of ways that this is happening. So will they highlight what to look out for?
Right, they're going to highlight what to look out for. Warning signs, what your teens are doing online could be a warning sign to what's going on. For example, we have actually had youth who have been taken through human trafficking from this region in recent years. So this is something that should hit home for people here, I think.
With some of the research, I'm interested to see some of the research that is done on this. What was some of the background issues that led to the child deciding I'm going to leave home, if it was one of those cases, or because now it seems like kidnapping or trafficking is not. They're, back in the day we hear they was just snatching kids
them off the side of the street.
Some kids are going on their own, and there's what is leading them to say, okay, I'm going to leave home.
I'm not the expert here, but I do know that some of the discussion has been around, just online predators who present to be something they're not, or someone they're not. They're a different age, they're a different type of person. And they convince these young women mostly, but there are young men as well, that they're hopelessly in love, or their lives are so bad that they can provide a better situation, and then they find out that they really didn't run to what they thought they were running to.
as a parent, this just kind of tugs at my heart and just makes you want to grab your babies and say, look, tell your babies you love them. They always have a home with you. They're protected with you. And, you know, just hug and love on your babies, parent. That's all I can say. All right. And we're going to get close to our break again. Arkansas Prevention Needs Assessment.
Hey, this is a survey that's done every year with 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th graders across the state. And they're asked questions about everything from have you ever tried alcohol to have you smoked in the past 30 days to have you ever taken a gun to school? Do you feel safe in your school? Have you ever tried meth? Have you ever, so it's a whole range of substance and safety questions. It's an anonymous survey. County level results are available to the public online.
Okay.
The link to that is on our website and on our Facebook page, and we try to keep it out there everywhere. So, but you can't see building level reports. Those are available to the schools, but not to the public. But you can see the county level reports. So when we are planning our interventions, we literally look at, in this county, marijuana is a huge, huge problem, but in this county, 40% of the 10th graders are smoking, or in this county, maybe 25% of the 6th graders are smoking marijuana. So we can kind of tailor our responses to where we see the problems are.
Okay. Internet safety and cyberbullying. I've had discussions with JP personnel that work in the Crimes Against Children's unit, and it's just amazing, sadly amazing, not amazing good, but sadly amazing, the things that are happening online. Yeah. So again, please consider going out and become more aware of what's happening, what your children are looking at and accessing online. We don't know what's happening, who's saying what to them, and look out for behavior changes. We're going to get ready for a break here in a minute, and the last one is the dangers of youth vaping and juuling. And you mentioned how those devices can look like something else, and we never know what our children are doing, but we need to be more aware of that. Be very aware. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up our discussion and then talk about some other programs that CRDC provides. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. Here are a few things you might not know about credit cards from Sharisa Naw, the consumer expert at Black Enterprise. You can get a temporary credit card number. If you don't feel comfortable using your credit card number when shopping online, you can use a short-term number instead. All you have to do is contact your credit card issuer or bank and make the request. A new temporary number will be provided that is linked to your credit account. Temporary credit card numbers are issued free of charge. When a future employer orders your credit report, they cannot see your credit score. Employers don't have access to your credit score, only your report. Employers receive a modified version of your credit report, known as an employment report, from the 3 major credit reporting agencies, which does not include your score. I'm out of time, but join me for Money Matters tomorrow when I'll share more credit card secrets from Black Enterprise consumer expert Sharisa Naw. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. at AURN.com.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization focused on joy in our sisterhood, power in our voice, and service in our hearts. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
It's graduation season, and KLEK 102.5 FM is offering you an opportunity to congratulate or shout out that special graduate in your life for just $10 per message. The messages will air from May 1st through 25th at 7:31 a.m., 12:31 p.m., and 5:31 p.m. Proceeds go to help keep KLEK on the air. KLEK will also donate a portion of the proceeds to the Sonia D. Williams Scholarship Fund of the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. To sign up and purchase your greeting for that special graduate, visit our website at www.klekfm.org or call 870-277-1080. This event is a KLEK fundraiser.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
House of Details, located at 3915 East Highland in Jonesboro, is a proud supporter of KLEK, offering detailing on any type of vehicle, basic wash, hand wash, shampoo, interior cleaning, waxing, buffering, headlight restoration, pickup, delivery, and more with the motto of anything mean we can clean. Details at 870-273-5187. House of Details on Facebook and at klekfm.org.
The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was established on January 1st, 1977, originally serving Blytheville, Arkansas, and now serving Jonesboro, Blytheville, Osceola, Marion, and West Memphis, Arkansas. Today, the chapter continues to make an impact by focusing on Alpha's national community outreach initiatives such as My Brother's Keeper, A Voteless People is a Hopeless People, Go to High School, Go to College, Project Alpha, Boy Scouts, and the March of Dimes. The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is committed to Alpha's mission of developing leaders, promoting brotherhood and academic excellence, while providing service and advocacy to the community. More information about the Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is available at MOL Alphas on Facebook or via email at molalphas@gmail.com.
KLEK is starting a new fundraiser which will allow listeners to donate to KLEK while buying groceries. KLEK is a part of the Kroger Community Rewards fundraising program. When shoppers visit a participating Kroger and scan his or her Kroger Plus Shoppers Card, a portion of the savings goes back to KLEK to help keep it on the air. Details on how to sign up for the program are available at KrogerCommunityRewards.com and at klekfm.org. This is a KLEK fundraiser.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. My special guest today is Dr. Lisa Perry from from CRDC right here in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And so during this last segment, I'm going to let her wrap up some of the information and give you a highlight on who the keynote speaker would be, Mr. Kirk Lane. So go ahead, Miss Dr. Perry.
Okay. Our Arkansas State Drug Director, Kirk Lane, used to be the Chief of Police in Benton, Arkansas.
Okay.
He was appointed to this position by Governor Asa Hutchinson a little less than 2 years ago.
Okay.
He's worked with the DEA, he's worked with the FBI, he's got some pretty impressive credentials in both the area of law enforcement and in his work in substance abuse prevention and in substance trafficking and trying to end that here in the state. As police chief in Benton, he was the first one to actually initiate the drug take-back that we're now doing here in the state as part of the national initiative. The Benton Police Department was the first to do that when he was there. He has been very active in the state since becoming drug director. He has traveled to every county. He has spoken to groups all over the place about his passion for this and why it means so much that we need to address these drug issues here in the state because they impact so many lives.
Okay. All right. So again, please make plans to go out to this conference and tell us again, give us the details one more time about the date, time, location.
The conference is May 13th. We ask for people to register in advance, but if you don't, come anyway. For youth groups, if you have a church group you want to bring or a school wants to send a group, they just need to send us an email. We do still have some space available for both the youth track and the adult track. Can start signing in at 8:30. We will have parking passes there for people to put in their vehicles so they don't get towed or get ticketed. We will start the first presentations. We'll start up at 9:30. We should wrap up around 2:45 or so, give or take a little bit.
Okay.
The youth track is all youth-led, so we have students from the Prevention Squad, which is affiliated with Out of the Dark here in Craighead County.
Okay.
We also have youth from Blytheville Middle School. Their target team is coming to do presentations.
Okay.
As well as youth from Healing in the Hood in Blytheville. So 3 great organizations, 3 great groups of youth who are going to be doing all of the training and all of the presentations for the youth there for the day. So I really want to make sure we give them some attention because I'm very proud of these young people.
All right, and I want to mention that from Healing in the Hood, it will be their SWAG team, which stands for Students with a Goal. This is a group of young men, and so this is awesome that we're seeing males step up and take a lead role. We need more of that. You know, us ladies, we can do a lot, and we do a lot, but it's something about a male presence that just helps kids kind of get in line, and it boosts their something within them. I've heard this discussion when dads visit, daycare centers and those pre-K centers. The children just light up. Mom can be there all day long, but when a dad walks in, it's like, wow, a whole different atmosphere.
It's like Christmas. It really is.
So we need more males in our communities to step up and start. Almost now we need to start snatching up our kids. Like, okay, look, this is the path you need to go on. Here's the mistakes I made. I don't want you to make those. Transparency. We need to be a little more transparent with our youth on today and let them know the person you see now with these degrees and jobs and whatever, we weren't always these people.
That's absolutely true.
So we need to start, finding ways to relate to our youth and help them get on the right path to whatever success means for them.
I'm looking for all of the Sandy Gillespies I can find in every county. He's the man who started Healing in the Hood.
Okay.
And he has done so much for that community with all of the work he is doing there.
All right, so a challenge has been given. Hopefully more men will start stepping up, and hopefully maybe Mr. Sandy would be willing to start other chapters in other areas. We don't know what can happen. All right, so we thank you so much, Ms. Lisa. Oh, Dr. Lisa, and real quick before we end our last 2 minutes, can you give us a run through of the other programs the CRDC has?
Okay, I think everybody who knows us probably knows the Energy Assistance Program. We're wrapping up the Winter Assistance Program now. Summer Assistance will be starting, I think, at the beginning of July.
Okay.
We also have a weatherization program. They will come out and do an assessment of your home, whatever that is, and can do things like insulation and weather stripping and those sorts of things to try to stop all these energy leaks that are in the house. We have a drug treatment facility in NEARC, Northeast Arkansas Regional Recovery Center, that provides inpatient and outpatient treatment services for men and women. We have a nutrition program that helps provide food for daycares for children and adults. They also provide home-delivered meals for people who are elderly and disabled. We have a transportation program that does rural transportation. They can't do inside Jonesboro from your house to Walmart because that's what JETS is for. But it's outside of Jonesboro we can handle.
All right. And more information can be found on your website. I was trying to find it real quick.
CRDCNEA.com.
All right.
.org.
.org. Okay. So again, www.crdcnea.org. You can reach out to Dr. Lisa and Miss Lee Blythe. Is it Blythe? Okay, Lee Blythe. And then they will help you get the information or direct you the information that you need. Again, please consider going out to this empowerment conference. It sounds like it's going to be a treat looking at the program, and we want the whole community to come out and support this event and then become aware and become informed and empowered with the information that's going to be given on that day. So thank you so much, Dr. Lisa.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to seeing you again and hearing more about how the conference went after. And then we'll see you in June, hopefully. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for checking in. And I hope everyone has a great and blessed day.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place.